Okay, we have just finished watching Halo 4
Halo,
Forward Unto Dawn action film full length sci-fi movie full HD.
action hero film movie.
uh, and I've got notes. I wrote notes down. First of all, I wrote cool intro, right? Which by that I mean the Cortana section where the cold open, quite literally, into the frozen interior of a ship with John Halo in the snooze pod, leaving off continuing from where Halo 3 left off. That was cool. It was weird that it went from CGI to live action randomly. Makes sense for Cortana. I don't know why they couldn't just get an older guy and pretend it was Lasky. I don't know why it had to be a CGI man. It's just kind of strange.
Somebody who looks like him they could have got. I think the guy that they actually used, because it is obviously some guy behind there, and they just put some face onto him. But still, the guy who they actually used in the film looks like him to an extent, right?
Yeah. It's just strange going from CGI to live action. Seemingly for no reason. Because like when Star Wars did it, it's because characters were dead. You know, like the actors were dead. Yeah. Whereas in this, it's just like, let's CGI him to look older. It's completely fine to just get another guy who's older and looks somewhat similar.
This could be one big practical joke, and it turns out that the guy wasn't actually CGI'd. He just kind of looks like that.
Yeah, that'd be really unfortunate. Or maybe he's a character in Halo 4 or something. I don't know. Maybe you get to see him and he looks like that, and that's why they had to CGI him. I'm wondering what Axios means. I don't think they specified. I could be wrong, but they say it a lot. It's obviously their...
Axios means I am worthy.
Really?
That is what the general said as he laid his life down for the Empire. Can you tell I've seen this several times?
Yeah, I don't know. I just...
Axios.
Maybe you could look it up and clarify, but...
I will look up the actual meaning, not the Halo meaning.
Yeah, because one word meaning I am worthy.
Axios is a Greek word that means worthy of, deserving of, or suitable.
Okay, so kind of makes sense.
I'll look at the line specifically from Forward Unto Dawn. And it's said it near the beginning where the...
Yeah, it's just like they said it so fucking much. And the reason I didn't realize is because I was writing down this next note that the general guy, Black, had a cool voice. I like that guy's voice. He was very general like. It's always cool to have what do you call it? I can't remember, the raspy voice. There you go, the raspy voice. It's always cool. I thought it was weird that the cadets were chosen because their parents are quote good, as in like like high-ranking officers or good soldiers.
Yes.
That's
no high-ranking officers.
Yeah, okay. So that's a strange way of conscripting like a weird little. Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine if this was the real world, like the standard military grunt guys, the GIs would be like kind of pissed off that there was this like upper class, you know, the officer's kid gets his own fucking school. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they would get a lot of heckling, I guess, if they ever did go to fight.
Especially as you would see towards the end of the film with what one of the cadets decided to do.
Yeah.
By cutting in line. Not only were they chosen
my mum is fucking whatever the fuck, don't you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dead.
Comms, like high in the comms, the room or something like that. Then she goes up in the
Fleet
tower
command or some shit.
Yes. And
she goes so in the tower. We move on from that point with the explaining that the cadets are chosen because the parents are high-ranking officers and the general having a cool voice. They do a marching cadence, which is where the soldiers sing, for lack of a better term. The official term for it is cadence. They do a marching cadence, and I thought it was really fucking cool. The cadence they were singing functioned as a cadence, but also was in key with the score that was playing in the background in a way that created a really nice melody, like a really nice melody. Like,
yes,
the harmonies that went with the score in the background and shit. It was genuinely very well done, and that's my music nerd coming through there. And I thought that was cool.
A little bit of a lore dump. It was written by Nathan Lanier.
Oh yeah, who's that?
Not a clue.
Okay.
Well, Nathan Lanier. It says here he is a multi-instrumentalist, composer for film, television, and games. Who has signature cinematic dance music projects including So You Think You Can Dance, Dancing with the Stars,
Oh yeah,
the High Strung Dance franchise, as well as Halo 4 Forward Unto Dawn.
okay, one of those doesn't fit.
One of those we know.
But yeah, the cadence thing was cool. It's just like a side note that I wrote down, something that probably doesn't interest the majority of people watching the film because it's just music. The main character was set up from the beginning that he doesn't follow the propaganda that the Innies, which are insurrectionists. Took me a while to put that together. That Innie was insurrectionist, like a shortening, like a slur, I guess, in some not really slur way.
Literally that's what they call it.
Yeah. So the main character, Mr. Lasky, doesn't follow the propaganda that they're all bad guys, right? He alludes to the idea that he knows that they're not. But I don't think it's expanded on. Maybe it's just like a subtle hint that his family, or no though, because he's there because his family's in the military. So I don't know where they went with that. I don't know if I missed something or if they just sort of never went anywhere with him being, I don't know how to describe it, but like friendly, for lack of a better term, with the quote enemy of the war. It's just sort of like, I get him not wanting a fight, but he implies that he knows that they're not all bad people, but I don't think it's ever expanded on why he knows that they're not all bad people.
I guess it's being pessimistic, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, so I also wrote down at this point here that the start of the film is slow. I started to realise that the start is a very slow start. It's a slow burn. But towards the end, if we like skip the middle and just talk about it, the end is really cool. I just kind of wish that happened earlier and then more happened in that bit.
Sort of take it like halfway through the film, cut out all the...
Like when they first show the spiraling thing in the sky, right? When they first show that, I'm like, oh, okay, shit's going to kick off now. And it's like, no, you got to wait another 20 minutes before shit kicks off. Maybe even longer.
Back to it.
I feel like if it was like, okay, you set the scene, they're cadets, this guy doesn't like it, we get it, right? Can we have something happening? Because it felt for a bit too long that nothing was happening. And then at the end, obviously the ODSTs start dropping and fucking John Halo shows up, which was really cool. But I feel like it took too long to get there, and then when it was there, not enough happened. It was just sort of like a quick get to the Pelican and we're gone, you know?
Yes.
Do you agree? Or am I...
I do agree. It was more...
They had a really cool opportunity to show more Halo gameplay in live action, but instead it's just cadets waxing poetic.
And a lot of it being dark means that they didn't really have to show it off fully.
That's fine though. That's like CGI.
It makes it better, like aesthetically, like terrifying is what they try to go for, instead of like the whole we're gonna fight them, so have a look and see everything.
Yeah.
But seeing like when we got to see that elite up close and personal with the energy sword, like coming around the corner, slowly just like looking at them, then getting killed by the Master Chief. That was really cool. Because that was like a really full resolution elite.
Is it, like, imagine you're watching Jurassic Park and like 70% of the film is them just walking around the park looking at the dinosaurs. And then at the very end, a T-Rex breaks out, and then you have 5 minutes of it eating people, and then the credits roll. That's kind of what this felt like. It wasn't... I feel like there was too much set in the scene, and then not enough capitalizing on the scene that you've set.
Yes.
I don't have a film degree or anything like that. It's just my opinion. The main character is allergic to snooze juice, I write. Medical discharge, but he obviously denies it because he's still in the army at the end. I was expecting to see a scene where he throws it away, like similar to the Call of Duty World War II campaign, where you get given like, you can leave, and you go, I ain't leaving, and you tear it up, you know. I expected to get a scene like that, but it's just sort of left because obviously they get invaded, and then the end is like, oh, he's older now, and you know, not only is he older and still in, but he's getting in the snooze pod, and it shows that he's got the allergic reaction to snooze juice on his chest.
Yes.
That's a cool character trait, I guess, that he will go through. He doesn't care that he can't breathe because he's doing it for a reason. That's cool. The Colonel gets popped, I write. Literally. She gets hit by the needler, and it actually has its in-game effect of exploding, which is pretty cool. What did you think of the Colonel getting popped?
The explosions, yeah. That's the thing I mentioned is that
Colonel Jack me off.
It was an off screen. Obviously, it's you can't have it on screen. I don't know how to perceive her character. It's like she's the harsh figure that's trying to support you in some way. It's like it started off with her quite harsh and very. It's just like they wanted you to make you feel like this is a bad character. You're not meant to support this character. She's going to be down his throat all the time and trying to make sure that he doesn't succeed. But then the next time you see her, she's trying to say like, here, deep, like literally dig deep down, grab all this fight and just push forward.
I feel like,
and then
go on.
No, and then there's obviously like the death and stuff. It is a bit impactful, but
I thought it was just cool that she got hit with a needler. I think the problem that this film has in a lot of ways, like I said, it spends too long setting things up, but even then there's not enough time to set all this shit up. Like you're saying, the Colonel is presented as like a hard, like a hard nut, not to mess with, and then suddenly becomes like, go get him slugger out of nowhere, and then dies. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's not enough time to develop the characters, but at the same time, you feel like you're watching this intro section for so fucking long.
There's not enough time to sort of
personally, I don't want to say I got bored, but I started to become aware of the fact that time was passing rather than being focused on the film. I don't know if that happens to people where, like, if you're watching something that you're not into, you start to become like, check the time, how long's left. You know what I mean? That's how I started to become watching this, because there just wasn't a lot happening and it was taking too long. But at the same time, it felt like it was going too fast because I didn't understand why the Colonel changed. You know what I mean? Like you're saying. I don't know. Very strange pacing. Not enough time to
get through all the characters that they tried to bring into the show.
Yeah, and then maybe,
the person who I think they did really well with was Colonel Black.
But even he didn't have many fucking scenes.
I still think it was very impactful because he's not meant to be a figure that you see. No. He's the top guy, and he establishes that pretty well. He gets a really cool monologue scene, and then he goes forward like into like his. You see him in a warthog. He just you salute him, and he's just like yeah whatever type of thing. They try to build a cool character out of him.
Yeah,
and the fact that he died in the warthog is also like a nice. I don't know. It's another cool thing.
I just maybe this show would have done better if it was a TV series. Maybe that's just what it is. Maybe it would have been better paced if there was actual like half an hour episodes, and there was like 5 of them.
I'm reading a little bit of the lore just to help give us that extra, because we are doing this right after we've just watched.
We literally just rolled credits.
So we can't get your opinions, unfortunately. As much as we love reading through it, we both read through the comments like avidly just to see what everybody's having to say.
Yeah.
And we really, appreciate all the lore that you guys bring to us. It really does open up the story further than what we knew.
And obviously, we appreciate that because I don't want to look up the lore and spoil something by accident. Because a lot of the lore in games references things that happen like in the past. Like if I was to look up the lore of Halo Combat Evolved, I'm sure it would tell me what happened in Reach, because Reach has to happen for Combat Evolved to occur in the first place. You know what I mean? Yes. Like if I looked up what is Cortana, and it just tells me, well, in Reach you do this. You know what I mean? Like it would ruin it. So I don't look up anything. I appreciate that people put that in the comments for us. But anyway, you looked up the lore on.
So I looked at a little bit of the lore. The one thing that I was quite keen on, if you watch the end of the watch through that we did, was the Spartans that come up at the end of the battle.
I was gonna go through the film bit by bit. I did note those down. I didn't want to jump straight to the end of the film. I kind of want to go through it bit by bit.
Okay, so what we did was we got to the
Colonel gets popped, and you talked about the general being cool.
Yeah. We also had the ODSTs. That's another thing to mention. Mm-hmm. Really, really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. But this is what I mean. I wish there was more of that. Instead of that being like one scene of the ODSTs dropping and then you literally never see them again, by the way. Like you see them drop and then they're gone. You don't get a cool ODST scene. You get John Halo showing up, but like you see him drop and then they're gone.
The description earlier when they were having that mock-up sort of tactical display in sort of like the showroom.
Yeah, talking about the old...
About replacing the
Hannibal
cavalry sort of flanking around the rear with the ODSTs. To then be in that little tunnel with all the other little cadets and you see these ODSTs. You're not meant to see the ODSTs. They're meant to be on the other side of the army. And the fact that they're dropping down right with you...
Yeah, you're fucked.
Like, you're done.
It's over. It's over.
If they can't get behind him, if this is behind, you're done. It's like, I guess it's what it's trying to insinuate is that the Covenant have swarmed the entire area, like they've done a whole perimeter around the base. This is the behind lines.
Yeah. It's like more of what I'm saying. It's like they had a lot of shit to pump into the film, too much for the runtime. So you end up, like, you need to set the story up with the long intro, but then when you drop the ODSTs, you don't have time to show them doing anything because you got to jump straight into that next fucking scene, you know what I mean? And also the fact that obviously the story is following Lasky, so unless Lasky gets involved with the ODSTs, there's no point, there's no reason for the camera to just jump to one of them and follow them for a little bit. And I guess instead of that, you get the John Halo, but maybe in that case the ODSTs are meant to be more of like a subtle, not so subtle Easter egg. I guess not really, but kind of at the same time. My next note that I wrote down was Invisilite, which was cool seeing that in the film. You can't see them at all in the film, though. They don't have like a weird ghost effect. They're just completely fucking invisible.
Which is what it should be.
And obviously, that's how it should be, obviously, for the game. You have to fucking see them, because otherwise it'd be bullshit. But while we were seeing this in the watch together, I said, this would be a cool game. And you were like, yeah, like Alien Isolation. I think that would be a cool game. I don't know if there's any hope of Halo expanding into different genres at this point, but a cool horror style game. You still have weapons, but like a horror style game where you play as just a normal guy, not as a super soldier, not as a spec ops guy, just a normal guy, and invaded by the Covenant, and you've got to like escape, kind of like Alien Isolation, kind of like a Resident Evil crossover. But like I said, I don't think there's any hope of Halo going anywhere at this point in the state that
I think they're in for a reset. Personally, I feel like there's a reset.
Do you reckon a reboot's coming?
I don't reckon a reboot's coming. Because I still think that they're doing that whole anniversary situation.
Yeah,
I think 343. There was some news, wasn't there? I think 343i news on Halo. Something happened. They made a statement. So yeah, there we go. 1 week ago, the home of Halo. This is a YouTube video by a guy called Kevin Cool. The home of Halo is not 343 Industries anymore. I think 343 announced something where they're stepping back as the lead developer, and instead, there we go. Here we go. Halo series developer 343 Industries will only supervise development of future entries in the series.
Weird.
So they've confirmed that
they're not making them anymore.
There will be more Halo, but 343 will not be directly in control. They will supervise it. And by supervise, I can only expect that means
I know exactly what that means.
Keep it within the lore.
No, I know exactly what it means. What that means is a Modern Warfare 3 where Sledgehammer made it, but Infinity Ward told them what to do and how to do it. That's what that's going to be. So like,
I don't know.
So a new company will come in and make the next Halo game, and they'll say like, we want to do this, and 343 will be like, yeah, sure, maybe change this idea, but they won't actually have a hand in creating it. It's kind of like what you're saying, but this has happened already. Modern Warfare 3 is an example of this, where Infinity Ward never made it, Sledgehammer made it, but they made it with Infinity Ward looking over their shoulder the whole fucking time, because it's their IP that Sledgehammer was fucking with.
Now, hold this thought, because what I'm seeing next, I'm just reading a little bit of the comments. Some people saying this is not real, this is not confirmed, or something like that. I don't know. Then, if that's the situation, I would only expect that's the best case going forward, or bring on another team so that you can cut down all the hassle and stress that 343 went through to try and get Halo Infinite sort of ready and prepared for that series.
Has 343 had a success in the Halo franchise at all.
I think maybe Forward Until Dawn might be their only success.
So when you're in this situation where it almost feels like there's nothing you can do to get approval, and when the money looks like it ain't coming in, like Xbox in that investor call saying they're kind of moving away from Halo being a flagship title, as we spoke about in the Combat Evolved playthrough months ago. When you're in that situation, it's kind of a no-brainer to just sort of try and get the fuck out. Maybe someone else can say, or maybe what they're going to do, if that is a real quote and that is really what's going to happen, maybe they're going to do a little chaperone and then they'll just fully fuck off and do something else, and this new company will become the new Halo.
I don't think they can, though. That's the weird thing, because 343 is literally named after something important in the Halo franchise.
Yeah, but they can do whatever they want. Just because they're named after something doesn't mean they can't do anything.
I don't know. Maybe a name change or something from them.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they get restructured. Anyway, John Halo shows up in the film.
Yes, John Halo.
John Halo shows up in the film, and he's cool. He's overly cool. But I did notice there were some inaccuracies with John Halo that I would like to get into. First of all, he gets someone else to drive the Warthog. That's a mistake. As we know, nobody else can fucking drive. Only you can drive. The AI components in these games, they do not know how to drive. So the fact that John Halo would tell someone to drive for him, that's highly inaccurate. I think that breaks immersion for me. And also, the motherfucker aims his rifle. Several times, I see him aiming his fucking rifle. So don't be telling me that ADS would break the game when even in their own fucking film, the guy, and not even him, what's her face? Kyla, the girl that gets clarted like her father before her. She is ADSing, popping headshots out of a moving vehicle. Don't be telling me I can't ADS in Halo because it would break the game or because it's not meant to be in the game. These fuckers are aiming their weapons. That is an inaccuracy, but something that I would like to be in the games. Have you got any comments on John Halo being in the game? Because that's about it for me.
Well, I feel like this is a very...
in the film, I mean, not in the game.
He's very compassionate. Now, the same thing can be said about the games, is that diehard fans of the series, I've heard them say, John Halo is not as, cool as he is described, like in like proper lore. Like we're talking, there's even something further, like going back. I'm sure this is going to be a bit more of a surprise to you, even.
Yeah.
That people argue who would win between Master Chief and Noble Six. Like we didn't really even talk much about it. That's what I say. People kind of describe it because we don't really get to know Noble Six's background, but Noble Six is a killing machine.
But he's like
he is a killing machine.
Well, in the game that we played, not reading any fucking extra comic books or anything, in the game that we played, he's like a Black Project pilot.
That's how it's described, but apparently...
I didn't hear anything about him being like a John Halo, approaching on John Halo's territory. The only thing they talk about is that he's got a redacted history because he worked on a Black Project flying a space plane.
He apparently drove away entire armies, and he was just like indestructible almost. That's why sort of like the final stand is him against the entire Covenant forces invading Reach. And he withstands it quite a long time. He's the last survivor alive, of Noble Team. He's quite strong. There's like
I wish they put this fucking lore in the games, man. Like I'm saying, we appreciate the people dropping the lore in the comments, but like you shouldn't have to. In my opinion, I shouldn't have to read 6 comic books to understand a game that I just bought. It's one thing to have like extended lore, but to put me in a game playing as a mysterious figure and like his backstory is actually that he's the coolest guy in the fucking world, but we didn't tell you. You know what I mean? Why didn't you tell me? That would have been a great part of that game. Or like, you know what I mean? I don't want to complain. I'm not complaining. I just like...
No, it's
I wish there was more in the game instead of out of the game. Because in reality, the majority of the time in the game is you're just pushing forward on the left analog stick and pulling the trigger. And at least in Reach, there were cool cinematic cutscenes. But like, you know, the lore that makes these games cool isn't immediately readily available to you, especially in the original releases where those fucking terminals didn't exist. You know?
Yes.
Anyway, back to the film.
Yes.
I wrote only one hunter, question mark, exclamation mark. No, there's two. Later I wrote, no, there's two.
Always
of course
two.
There's two. And we got to see him explode into worms, which was a comment. I think we got that comment in Halo 2. I think when someone told us they were worms and why there's always two of them, and we got to see them turn into worms in the film, which was cool.
Really cool.
And he like tucked the grenade between the worms, like he shoved his hand in between the worms and let go of the grenade inside of the worm bundle, which was cool. Because I didn't think, like, it's easy saying, oh yeah, they're a bundle of worms, right? But I didn't think about the mechanics of that. The reality is they're literally just like spaghetti twisted around on a fork, and you just popped a grenade through the spaghettis.
And it just
and they're literally just earthworms. That they're not even like magic space worms. They're just big earthworms. It was cool. My favorite color's green, so seeing the green glow and the green shots going through the woods at night, it's just cool. I mean, that would be cool whatever color, but I like green. I think the color green is just cool to me. Cool color. And then people get hurt and the biofoam gets cracked out. And I wrote, biofoam is hilarious to me. That was the note I put down while watching it. Just the concept of fucking... And it's shaving cream as well in the film. Just like squirting out a little blob of shaving cream. And it's like, you should be able to walk now. Like, how the fuck should he be able to walk now? He squirted shaving cream on his leg. And just the fact that it's like, they didn't come up with any cool name for like this healing item. It's just called biofoam. And I said while we were watching it, putting bio in front of anything is so fucking funny to me. I love putting bio in front and oid afterwards. That's the best. And he runs out of biofoam, and obviously, unfortunately,
can't save the girl.
Kyla dies, which was, again, it's like, it feels like it came too soon, but at the same time, once again, we're struggling with this things happening too soon at the end, but the beginning being too long. So it's like, it's a weird feeling, you know? Like, they had such a long intro, they have one kiss, and then all of a sudden he's distraught that she's dead. I mean, I get that they grew up together on the base. Don't get me wrong. I get that they grew up together on the base. But there was like, you could have had more romantic scenes to make that death hit harder.
I guess they had the knocking stuff, but that was less, you know.
Yeah, but this is what I was like, subtle fucking... Why not just have like more scenes with them together? But at the same time, the fucking film is 1 hour and 20 minutes. I guess it's not super long for a film, but it's like in the standard film range, and it feels like there's too much and not enough at the same time, which is weird. I don't think I've ever felt that before while watching a film, but I am not a cinema nerd. I don't watch many films. I haven't seen many films in my life. And then my final note to close is John Halo is a bio freak. See, I took the bio prefix from the previous note. John Halo is a bio freak. You see the two other Spartans, Jane Halo and the other guy who I didn't know his name, but you see them take their helmets off and they're fucking freakish looking. They kind of half look like they're like 10% of the way to avatars. You know, the blue skin avatar guys? They're kind of like 10% of the way there. They remind me of the mermaid people from Harry Potter as well.
The reason behind it is very easy.
It's because they're genetically engineered, isn't it?
No, they are. No. They are children. They're still children.
Yeah, but they're not weird because they look like kids. They're weird because they got big fucking green eyes and weird shaped heads.
They're children who are, like you said, they are genetically enhanced.
Yeah.
They've not been created, but
no.
They were born as kids, taken through the program, survived this like heinous process of what's ever happened to them to become these gigantic sort of, killing machines. And that in itself is sort of like...
They were very, very unsettling to look at, especially the woman.
the reason why I was saying earlier when I was checking out the lore is because I found out what Spartans they are.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Really, really happy with it.
Back to the
It's
lore.
in some of the other games and stuff, and I think we'll see them some point in the future, possibly. I don't know. It's Spartan Kelly and Spartan Fred.
Fred.
Obviously, we know Kelly.
Fucking Fred. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I had the same reaction as well.
Spartan.
But I think
Bob.
they're. I'll probably get corrected on this. I think they're from a mega team, and I think that maybe comes from Halo Wars, the RTS game.
Okay.
So when we go through that at some point,
somehow
we'll see and tell. But the thing that I was really like freaking out about was I thought it was Noble Six there, but it wasn't. They were wearing Mark 5B armor, which is the same armor that he wears. Okay. You won't know that because you didn't obviously see. You weren't able to see him throughout the campaign. But Fred, the guy that was sitting next to Kelly, obviously, that's what Noble Six looked like throughout the entire campaign.
Before you customize him, that's what he's supposed to look like. Okay.
The gray as well is just like accurate. It's
okay.
I love
maybe it's like an Easter egg to that then, in some way from 343.
I think it's early developmented Mjolnir, or no, not even Mjolnir. It's early developmental Spartan gear.
Okay. Well, yeah, they're bio freaks, and they freak me the fuck out. And if I saw one at night,
probably
it would put the shits into me. But they look cool though, in a very freakish way. I didn't expect John Halo to. It makes me wonder what John Halo actually looks like under his helmet, and I'm looking forward. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he takes his helmet off in a TV show or something, so I can see what he looks like.
You know who? What's her name? Kelly reminds me of as well.
What?
Kat. They had a very similar look with that like weird style.
Kat from I think Kat was just French. I don't think she was fucking a bio freak. I think she was just a French person with short hair.
They were different types of Spartans. We touched on this at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
if you haven't seen it already, go and take a look at it.
It would be cool if they were all, oids, but I don't think they look oidy. She was just French with short hair.
They were definitely older than the usual Spartans that we just saw.
Right, they seemed like normal people. Did 343 come up with the idea of them being biofreaks? Maybe that's why.
I don't think so. No.
Is it a 343 concept that when they take their helmets off, they look freakish? Because bearing in mind, also, you said while we were watching it together, the film is set how many years? 26, 30, around that.
It's around 30 years before Reach,
and obviously, by that time, the Reach guys are like Mark 3 Spartans. You said.
Yeah, Reach Spartan 3s. Spartan 2s that I think we saw now.
Okay, and then that would mean it's all fucked up because then George should be a bio freak.
George is a Spartan.
So George should be a bio freak. So maybe it is a 343 addition to the lore that they're.
But then again, that's also because George did look a little bit older than the rest of them. He did look older than the squad.
It's not, Tyler, it's not the age I'm talking about. It's the fucking green headlights they've got in their skulls, and the fact that their skulls are the wrong shape. They look weird. It's not that they're young. It's that they look like alien crossbreeds.
Weird.
Yeah. And George don't look like that. George don't have big green eyes, and he doesn't have a weird head. He's just, for all intents and purposes, he just speaks Hungarian. Like, Kat is just French. There's nothing weird about it.
You know who she is, Spartan Kelly. She looks like the one from Prometheus.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Exactly
right? A slightly off, uncanny humanoid. Like, I like it.
We're talking about these are actual people.
Well, I mean, they don't. If they look like that in real life, then fuck. I'm sorry, but I don't think they look like that in real life.
I'm gonna find out right now.
Pull up a picture of the actress, and she's genuinely like 8 feet tall with a weird looking fucking bowling pin head and big green eyes.
Cast for
Kelly. That's all my notes, though. That's all my notes. That's, for all intents and purposes, that's my thoughts on the film. And then it cuts obviously to Lasky at the end. And he's getting in his snooze pod again. And I'm assuming maybe he'll show up in Halo 4. and maybe John Halo will show up in Halo 4 because it's the beginning and the end. It's like sandwiched with like a cliffhanger that they're going to wake him up. So maybe Halo 4 starts with him being woken up, and maybe Lasky is a character in the game. That's about all I got from it. Other than that, it's just a Halo film. I don't think everything has to mean something, especially when it's 30 years before the first game, let alone the fourth game.
I just figured out that yes, they are. That's how they look in real life.
Yeah, like fuck.
Oh, they've made them look a little bit younger. Like I'm looking at a picture right now. This is the weirdest picture I've ever seen. But it's pretty close. It's pretty close.
Okay, I'm gonna not believe Tyler when he says these people look like that in real life. But if I'm wrong,
send you a picture of it. I'm gonna send you the picture after this recording.
If I'm wrong, then I revoke the BioFreak tag from these people.
Know, even if I can, I don't know if I can right now. Can I send you a picture right now and you can get a live reaction?
Yeah, send it to me on whatever, and I will react.
I'll send it on the Discord.
Okay.
That is a picture of both Fred and Kelly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I assume they're in makeup. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't mean a picture of them on set. I meant a picture of them like in their normal lives. You know what she looks like though? She looks like fucking. She looks like Eminem. That's Marshall Mathers.
She's gonna look a lot better when not in.
That's fucking Slim Shady after they cloned him. That's what she looks like.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. She's a normal person. She's not a biofreak in real life. There you go. There's the conclusive. There's the conclusion.
There you go.
She's not a biofreak in real life. And with that, I think we'll wrap up the review of the film.
We're going to bid you adieu. As we move on to Halo 4. We're almost there.
And the next the next video will be the start of Halo 4. So we will see you in the next video with the final game in our so far in our first time experiencing Halo series, because it's the last game in the MCC. And yeah, we'll see you then, Tyler.
Until then, until dawn.
Forward unto then.
Forward unto then.